Reading at Home TV.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael and welcome to Reading at Home. I love Australian animals, don't you? Like the kookaburra, or the dingo, or the blue-tongued lizard. I think my favourite animal though is the bouncing kangaroo. That gives me an idea. Would you like to hear a story about a little kangaroo?
Reading at Home.
Our first story today is called Where's Lucky? It's written by Jacqui Halpin and illustrated by Sandra Severnini. Are you comfortable? Settled in, ready for the story? Here we go. Lucky didn't always live in a kitchen. He lived in his mother's pouch while she hopped about in the bush. When she was hit by a car, Lucky stayed hidden until Teresa and Tony rescued him. He was Lucky. That's how he got his name. When Teresa and Tony first brought Lucky home, he trembled in his blankets. He had a heating pad to keep him warm and lots of tender cuddles. Lucky soon found his feet and made himself at home. Where's Lucky? Can you see Lucky's kangaroo feet? Teresa sewed Lucky a cosy pouch to keep him safe and snug. Here you go, Lucky. Does look cosy, doesn't it? Where's Lucky? Can you see him? Lucky loved milk. All the Joeys did. They huddled around Tony and he mixed their bottles. Bluey liked to help. Here's your bottle, Lucky. Where's Lucky? I can see a tail. I think that might belong to Lucky. Lucky welcomed a new arrival. It was a tiny kangaroo Joey. He did not have fur yet. Teresa rubbed oil into its delicate pink skin to keep it moist. Bluey liked to help. While the world outside slept, Teresa crept out of bed, fed the new Pinky, and checked on the other Joeys. They were all tucked up in their pouches, sound asleep, except for one. Where's Lucky? Can you see Lucky there in the kitchen sink? Lucky and his friends created chaos in the kitchen and havoc in the yard. Teresa swept up piles of poo and mopped up oceans of puddles. Every day, Tony hung out a mountain of washing. Bluey liked to help. While the washing was flapping in the breeze, Joeys basked in the sun or bounced around the yard, testing their legs. Teresa and Tony counted their mob. One was missing. Where's Lucky? Can you see Lucky? With Teresa and Tony's loving care, Lucky and his friends grew up healthy and strong. They did not need their bottles anymore. They needed lots of fresh green grass and much more space. Sadly, it was time for the older Joeys to leave. Lucky, too. Where's Lucky? I think Lucky might be having a little nap. Teresa and Tony drove the Joeys to a friend's property. There was bush and grassland as far as the eye could see. They knew it was for the best, but it was still hard to say goodbye. Goodbye, Joeys. We will miss you. Goodbye, Bluey. Thanks for helping. Goodbye, Lucky. Where's Lucky? Exactly where he should be. And that's the end of the story, Where's Lucky? I wonder if Wendy has got anything for us to think about from today's story.
Thinking.
I'm Wendy. We can learn a lot about our world from reading books. Some stories tell about our world that are real life, and some stories are made up. This story is based on real life. It's about a little Joey who was rescued and cared for by Teresa and Tony. His name was Lucky. Did you notice a pattern in today's story? You did? I did too. Patterns in stories can help us to predict what might happen next. Now little Lucky, he was never where he was supposed to be. He liked to do things differently. When it was time for milk, all the other Joeys drank from the bottle. But where's Lucky? He wasn't drinking from his bottle. When it was time for bed, all the other Joeys were tucked in their pouches. But where's Lucky? He wasn't in his pouch. When it was time to play, all the other Joeys were outside. But where's Lucky? He wasn't with the rest of the mob. I wonder, why was Lucky never with the other Joeys? And why was he never where he was supposed to be when he was living with Teresa and Tony? Now, when the Joeys were grown up, healthy and strong, it was time to go back to the bush. But where's Lucky? But this time the author tells us that Lucky is exactly where he should be. What do you think that means? Do you think the author is trying to tell us that Lucky knew he always belonged in the bush, where he could see grassland as far as the eye could see? That's where he belonged. Let's take a look at the picture. I can see Lucky's big, happy smile. And Teresa and Tony look happy too.
Thanks, Wendy. I love that little Lucky had a big smile on his face by the end of the story. I think you might have a big smile on your face too soon, because up next, we're going to head to the art room where Brianna is going to show us how to make a little kangaroo of our very own. See you soon.
Reading at Home TV.
Welcome back to Reading at Home. Wasn't Lucky a cute little kangaroo? Really made me wish I had a kangaroo of my own to look after. Well, we're about to head into the art room where Brianna is going to show us how to make a kangaroo of our very own.
Art at Home.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, I'm Brianna, and in the art room today, we're going to make our own little kangaroo, one just like Lucky. Now, you'll need an adult around to supervise, then you'll need a paper cup, a craft stick, some cardboard, googly eyes, pom-poms, and if you don't have those, just a coloured pen, and some chenille sticks, plus plenty of glue, tack and tape to stick everything down with. Now for our first step, we're going to get a grown-up to help us cut out some shapes to make the body of our kangaroo. We'll need some legs, some arms, a head, and a tail. Now remember, if you're using scissors, get the grown-up to supervise, otherwise they can cut it for you. Now we're going to take our legs and our tail and stick them together with a bit of tack. And then, folding our legs in half, stick them to the back of a cup with a bit of tape. Just like so. Then we can pop that one to the side and move on to our arms. Now you can see here these arms have a little hand on each side. We're going to decorate that with some pom-poms. So I'm going to stick down with a bit of glue 2 slightly bigger pom-poms in the middle and then add 1, 2, 3 little pom-poms on each paw. So the same number on the other side. And just like that, our pom-poms are done. We can then stick these arms to the back of our craft stick, which I've covered in a bit of cardboard to match the rest of the kangaroo. Now, if you don't have pom-poms, don't worry, you can always use your pen just to colour in the hand. Now our body's done, we'll move on to the face. Now here you can see my kangaroo already has 1, 2 ears. So I'm going to make them extra highlighted by adding in some felt, just like so. And what else do you think a face has 2 of? Can you think of anything? That's right, eyes, 1, 2. So we're going to add the same number to our kangaroo. This kangaroo's got nice sleepy eyes with lashes, sticking them down like so. And to finish our face, what do you think we need? That's it, we need a nose. So I'm going to glue down another pom-pom just down the bottom. But again, you can use your pen if you don't have one. Now it's time to stick the body all together. So I'm going to stick the head to the body and the craft stick into my cup. Just like so. And now I have a kangaroo who looks like she might want to be friends with Lucky. But maybe I want to make this kangaroo a mama kangaroo, and in that case, I need a joey. So here's a little one I made earlier. You can see I've made this by sticking together some pom-poms, adding some googly eyes, and using my chenille stick to make the ears and the tail. So now, once it's done, all we have to do is grab a piece of tape, wrap it around the back of the joey, and stick it into the front of our cup so we can see the world. The best part is, now our kangaroo and joey are done, we can put whatever we want in the cup. Maybe we want to put all our paintbrushes, or maybe our coloured pens, or even a flower. It's up to you. But for now, my kangaroo's gonna bounce away. Boink, boink, boink.
Thanks, Brianna. Inside this little kangaroo is a clue about our next story. Aha! Our next story is about a family's wild adventure in the Australian bush. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, we'll hear it right after this.
Reading at Home TV.
Welcome back to Reading at Home. Have you ever gone on a bushwalk? Maybe you heard some interesting sounds, or felt the dry leaves crackle under your feet. Or maybe you enjoyed the smell of the bush after a sun shower. Well, our next story is about a family who goes on an adventure in the Aussie bush.
Reading at Home.
Hello again. Today's story is Scribbly Gum Secrets. It's written by Dannika Patterson and illustrated by Megan Forward. Are you ready to listen and ready to go on an adventure? Let's get started. Do we have to go on a bushwalk today? We don't want to go, Mum. Can't we just stay? This is family time and it's my turn to choose. You'll have fun once we get there. Now put on your shoes. Cooper, Max, Layla, snap out of that trance. Let's go. Quick sticks. Charlie Bug, where are your pants? Out the back door, round the side, down the street, reluctant adventurers dragging their feet. They pass Mr. Lee's place, where everything grows, so carefully planted in neat little rows. The slick black road ends in a dry gravel track. One last double check of hats, backpack and snacks. Who drew on these trunks? Charlie asked Max. They'll be in big trouble if Mummy sees that. But Mum was already 10 paces ahead and heard not a word of what Charlie had said. What's over there? Max asked with a frown. 4 pairs of legs raced. 8 blue eyes looked down. Check out the itchy grubs crossing this post. They're leaving a gooey trail. Ooh, it's so gross. Who wrote on those trees? Charlie asked them again. But nobody heard him. Nobody explained. They all would have missed it, but Cooper looked up and cried, "Flying foxes, look! There's a new pup!" Asleep in the canopy, all upside down. They'd worked all night long, spreading seeds through the town. Does anyone know who would draw on a tree? Asked Charlie, admiring a blue banded bee. Perhaps it's in code, or it's some kind of sign. It all looks so messy. There's not one straight line. Layla smelled lemon and picked up a sheaf of white myrtle flowers and crushed a fresh leaf. Look at these flowers, and look, way up high. It's a birdwing, that green, black and red butterfly. I'm not going on, Charlie said, till you tell what that writing there says. Is it some kind of spell? Is it a story? Who wrote it and why? Now what? Said Max, and Cooper let out a sigh. "Mum," Layla called, "come and help Charlie read." Mum looked at the scribbles and said, "Yes, indeed, it does look like writing, but Charlie, it's not. It's made by the grub of the scribbly gum moth." Now come on, who's hungry and thirsty like me? We can share what we saw over afternoon tea. I saw a tusk frog, a black cockatoo, a big carpet python, a bush stone curlew. And Charlie? Well, Charlie still wanted to know what the squiggly word said. Messy row upon row. All this from a moth? I don't think so, Mum. It was writing, for sure, on the scribbly gum. One day when he learned how to read, he would see what secrets were scrawled on that scribbly tree. And that's the end of today's story. I wonder what lessons we can think about from this story.
Thinking at home. Aha!
What an adventure Charlie's family just had. Do you like to go on adventures too? I do. Let's think back to the beginning of the story. Did the children in the story want to go on an adventure with their mum? Let's take a look. I can see in the illustration the children are looking at the television and they're saying, "We don't want to go, Mum. Can't we just stay?" The author tells us the children were reluctant adventurers. Reluctant, that's a long word. I wonder what reluctant means. Let's read on to find out. The author says the children were dragging their feet. And if we look at the illustration, the children are looking down and they're straggling a long way behind Mum and Charlie. They don't look very excited, do they? I think reluctant in this story tells me they're not very excited about going on an adventure. If you're feeling reluctant, you might move slowly and not be excited about something. When you're reluctant, maybe you don't want to do something. Let's think about the end of the story. Were the children still reluctant? Let's take a look in the story. Now, in the afternoon, I can see the family are all together. The children have caught up and they look like they have lots to share. I'm going to read some of the words so I can check to see if the children were still reluctant. We can share what we saw over afternoon tea. And straight away the children called out, "I saw a tusk frog, a black cockatoo, a big carpet python, a bush stone curlew." The children sound much more excited now, don't they? They don't seem reluctant anymore. Could it be that Mum was right when she told them, "You'll have fun"? Sometimes you can feel reluctant to try new things, but when you do try new things, they're fun and exciting. Perhaps you might even learn some Scribbly Gum secrets, like little Charlie did in today's story.
Thanks, Wendy. Doing new things can sometimes be scary, but if you're brave, you can discover all sorts of new experiences. Would you like to do something new? Well, up next, we're going to do some bushwalking yoga with Nicola. You'll love it. See you soon.
Reading at Home TV.
Welcome back to Reading at Home. Going on an adventure with your family sounds like fun, doesn't it? Did you enjoy hearing about the family in our story and their adventure? Did it make you want to go on a bushwalk? Well, Nicola's outside and she's going to show us how we can all go bushwalking together.
Moving at home.
Hi everyone, my name's Nicola. What a great story about bushwalking. Have you ever been bushwalking before? Before we start, can you check that you have enough room to be safe? We're going to make our bodies strong, brave, and peaceful. When we make our bodies strong, we take a big step forward and lift our arms up. Strong legs and strong arms. Let's try it on the other side. The other foot is forward and the arms lift up to the sky. strong body. Well done. The next one is a brave warrior. When you're ready, step the foot back. This time we're going to drop the back heel down and bring our arms up to shoulder height. I am a brave warrior. Let's try that on the other leg. Step back. The back heel is down, your arms are at shoulder height. You are a brave warrior. Look down the front middle finger. Well done. Step forward. Our last one is a peaceful warrior. When you're ready, same position as our brave warrior. Now our front hand just sweeps up to the sky. Peaceful warrior. Let's try that on the other leg. Step back, arms up, turn your front hand and then lift it up to the sky. Peaceful warrior. Let's put all three together. Come back to the start. Step 1 foot back, strong body, brave body, peaceful warrior. Let's try that on the other side. Strong body, brave, and peaceful. Well done, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks, Nicola. Great bushwalk. It was fun being strong, brave and peaceful.
It sure was, and we hope you've enjoyed all the activities and stories we've shared together.
To continue reading more great stories before we see you next time, join the Premier's Reading Challenge.
Simply visit the website on screen.
We'll see you next time for more Reading at Home.
Bye!
Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.